Chapter 5 Parayana Vagga Vatagata. To the Brahmana Bavari, living on the banks of the Godavari, in Asaka's territory, comes another Brahmana and asks for 500 pieces of money, but not getting them he curses Bavari, saying, "May thy head on the seventh day hence cleave into seven." A deity comforts Bavari by referring him to Buddha. Then Bavari sends his 16 disciples to Buddha, and each of them asks Buddha a question. From the beautiful city of the Kosalas, Savatthi, a Brahmana, well versed in the hymns, went to the south Dakinapata wishing for nothingness. In Asaka's territory, in the neighborhood of Alaka, he dwelt on the banks of the Godavari, living on gleanings and fruit. And close by the bank there was a large village, with the income of which he prepared a great sacrifice. Having offered the great sacrifice, he again entered the hermitage. Upon his re-entering, another Brahmana arrived, with swollen feet, trembling, covered with mud, with dust on his head. And he going up to him, that is the first Brahmana, demanded 500 pieces of money. Bavari, seeing him, bade him be seated, asked him whether he was happy and well, and spoke as follows: "What gifts I had are all given away by me. Pardon me, O Brahmana, I have no 500. If thou wilt not give to me who asks, may thy head on the seventh clay cleave into seven." So after the usual ceremonies this impostor made known his fearful curse. On hearing these his words, Bavari became sorrowful. He wasted away taking no food, transfixed by the arrow of grief, but yet his mind delighted in meditation. Seeing Bavari struck with horror and sorrowful, the benevolent deity of that place approached him and said as follows: "He does not know anything about the head. He is a hypocrite coveting riches. Knowledge of the head and head splitting is not found in him. If the venerable deity knows it, then tell me, when asked, all about the head and head splitting. Let us hear thy words. I do not know this. Knowledge of it is not found in me. As to the head and head splitting, this is to be seen by Buddhas only. Who then, say, in the circumference of the earth knows the head and head splitting? Tell me that, O deity." Formerly went out from Kapilavatthu a ruler of the world, an offspring of the Okaka king, the Sakya son, the light-giving. He is, O Brahmana, the perfectly enlightened Sambuddha. Perfect in all things, he has attained the power of all knowledge, sees clearly in everything. He has arrived at the destruction of all things, and is liberated in the destruction of the upadas. He is Buddha, he is Bhagavat in the world, he, the clearly seeing, teaches the Dharma. Go thou to him and ask, he will explain it to thee." Having heard the word Sambuddha, Bavari rejoiced, his grief became little, and he was filled with great delight. Bavari glad, rejoicing, and eager asked the deity, "In what village or in what town or in what province dwells the chief of the world, that going there we may adore the perfectly enlightened, the first of men?" "In Savatthi, the town of the Kosalas, dwells Jina the victorious, of great understanding and excellent wide knowledge, he the Sakya son, unyoked, free from passion, skilled in head-splitting, the bull of men." Then Bavari addressed his disciples, Brahmanas, perfect in the hymns, "Come, youths, I will tell you something, listen to my words." he whose appearance in the world is difficult to be met with often, he is at the present time born in the world and widely renowned as Sambuddha, the perfectly enlightened. Go quickly to Savatthi and behold the best of men. How then can we know, on seeing him, that he is Buddha, O Brahmana? Tell us who do not know him, by what may we recognize him? For in the hymns are to be found the marks of a great man, and 32 are disclosed altogether, one by one. For him on whose limbs these marks of a great man are to be found, there are 2 ways left, a third does not exist. If he abides in a dwelling, he will subdue this earth without rod or sword, he will rule with justice. And if he departs from his dwelling for the wilderness, he becomes the saint, incomparable Sam Buddha, who has removed the veil from the world. Ask in your mind about my birth and family, my marks, hymns, and my other disciples, the head and head splitting. If he is Buddha, the clear-sighted, then he will answer by word of mouth the questions you have asked in your mind. Having heard Bhavari's words, his disciples, 16 Brahmanas, Ajita, Tisamettaya, Punaka, further, Metagu, Dotaka and Upasiva, Nanda, further, Hemaka, the 2 Tadeya and Kappa, and the wise Gatakani, Bhadravuda and Udaya, and also the Brahmana Pasala, and the wise Moharagan, and the great seer Pinjaya, all of them, having each their host of pupils, and being themselves widely renowned throughout the world, thinkers delighting in meditation, wise, scented with the perfume of former good deeds, having saluted Bhavari and gone round him towards the right, all with matted hair and bearing hides, departed with their faces turned to the north. To Patitana of Alaka first, then to Mahi Sati, and also to Ugeni, Gonada, Vedisa, Vanasavaya, and also to Kosambi, Saketa, and Savatthi, the most excellent of cities, to Satavya, Kapilavathu, and the city of Kusinara, and to Pava, the city of wealth, to Vasali, the city of Magadha, to Pasanaka Ketya, the rock temple, the lovely, the charming. As he who is athirst longs for the cold water, as the merchant longs for gain, as he who is plagued by heat longs for shade, so in haste they ascended the mountain. And Bhagavat at that time, attended by the assembly of the bhikkhus, taught the Dharma to the bhikkhus, and roared like a lion in the forest. Ajita beheld Sambuddha as the shining sun without burning rays, as the moon on the 15th, having reached her plenitude. Then observing his limbs and all the marks in their fullness, standing apart, rejoiced, he asked the questions of his mind. Tell me about my master's birth, tell me about his family together with the marks, tell me about his perfection in the hymns, how many hymns does the Brahmana recite? Bhagavat said, 120 years is his age, and by family he is a Bhavari. 3 are his marks on the limbs, and in the 3 Vedas he is perfect. In the marks and in the Itihasa together with Nigandu and Katuba, he recites 500, and in his own Dharma he has reached perfection. Ajita thought, explain fully the marks of Bhavari, O thou best of men, who cuts off desire. Let there be no doubt left for us. Bhagavat said, he covers his face with his tongue, he has a circle of hair between the eyebrows, his privy member is hidden in a sheath. Know this, O young man. not hearing him ask anything, but hearing the questions answered, the multitude reflected overjoyed and with joined hands, who, be he a god, or Brahman, or Indra, the husband of Shuga, asked in his mind those questions, and to whom did that speech reply? Ajita said, the head and head-splitting Bhavari asked about. Explain that, O Bhagavat, remove our doubt, O seer. Bhagavat said, ignorance is the head, know this. Knowledge cleaves the head, together with belief, thoughtfulness, meditation, determination, and strength. Then with great joy, having composed himself, the young man put his hide on one shoulder, fell at Bhagavat's feet and saluted him with his head, saying, Bhavari, the Brahmana, together with his disciples, O thou venerable man, delighted and glad, does homage to thy feet, O thou clearly seeing. Bhagavat said, let Bhavari, the Brahmana, be glad together with his disciples. Be thou also glad, live long, O young man, for Bhavari and for thee, for all there are all kinds of doubt. Having got an opportunity, ask ye whatever you wish. After getting permission from Sambuddha, Ajita, sitting there with folded hands, asked Buddha the first question. Ajita Manava Puka. By what is the world shrouded? So said the venerable Ajita, by what does it not shine? What callest thou its pollution? What is its great danger? With ignorance is the world shrouded, O Ajita, so said Bhagavat, by reason of avarice it does not shine. Desire I call its pollution, pain is its great danger. The streams of desire flow in every direction, so said the venerable Ajita. What dams the streams? Say what restrains the streams, by what may the streams be shut off? Whatever streams there are in the world, O Ajita, so said Bhagavat, thoughtfulness is their dam, thoughtfulness I call the restraint of the streams, by understanding they are shut off. Both understanding and thoughtfulness, so said the venerable Ajita, and name and shape, O venerable man, asked about this by me, declare by what is this stopped? Buddha said, this question which thou hast asked, O Ajita, that I will explain to thee. I will explain to thee by what name and shape are totally stopped. By the cessation of consciousness this is stopped here. Ajita said, those who have examined all dharmas, that is the saints, and those who are disciples, and those who are common men here, when thou art asked about their mode of life, declare it unto me, thou who art wise, O venerable man. Buddha, let the bhikkhu not crave for sensual pleasures, let him be calm in mind, let him wander about skillful in all dharmas, and thoughtful. Tisameteya Manava Puka. Who is contented in the world, so said the venerable Tisameteya, who is without commotions. Who after knowing both ends does not stick in the middle, as far as his understanding is concerned. Whom dost thou call a great man? Who has overcome desire in this world? The bhikkhu who abstains from sensual pleasures, O Meteya, so said Bhagavat, who is free from desire, always thoughtful, happy by reflection, he is without commotions, he after knowing both ends does not stick in the middle, as far as his understanding is concerned. Him I call a great man. He has overcame desire in this world. Punaka Manava Puka. To him who is without desire, who has seen the root of sin, so said the Venerable Punaka, I have come supplicatingly with a question, on account of what did the seers and men, Khatyas and Brahmanas, offer sacrifices to the gods abundantly in this world. About this I ask thee, O Bhagavat, tell me this. All these seers and men, Khatyas and Brahmanas, O Punaka, so said Bhagavat, who offered sacrifices to the gods abundantly in this world, offered sacrifices, O Punaka, after reaching old age, wishing for their present condition. All these seers and men, Khatyas and Brahmanas, so said the Venerable Punaka, who offered sacrifices to the gods abundantly in this world, did they, O Bhagavat, indefatigable in the way of offering, cross over both birth and old age, O venerable man? I ask thee, O Bhagavat, tell me this. They wished for, praised, desired, abandoned sensual pleasures, O Punaka, so said Bhagavat, they desired sensual pleasures on account of what they reached by them. They, devoted to offering, died with the passions of existence, did not cross over birth and old age, so I say. If they, devoted to offering, so said the Venerable Punaka, did not by offering cross over birth and old age, O venerable man, who then in the world of gods and men crossed over birth and old age, O venerable man, I ask thee, O Bhagavat, tell me this. Having considered everything in the world, O Punaka, so said Bhagavat, he who is not defeated anywhere in the world, who is calm without the smoke of passions, free from woe, free from desire, he crossed over birth and old age, so I say. Metagu Manava Puka. I ask thee, O Bhagavat, tell me this. So said the Venerable Metagu, I consider thee accomplished and of a cultivated mind. Why are these creatures, whatsoever they are of many kinds in the world, always subject to pain? Thou mayest well ask me concerning the origin of pain, O Metagu, so said Bhagavat, I will explain that to thee in the way I myself know it. Originating in the upadas pains arise, whatsoever they are, of many kinds in the world. He who being ignorant creates upadi, that fool again undergoes pain. Therefore let not the wise man create upadi, considering that this is the birth and origin of pain. Metagu, what we have asked thee thou hast explained to us. Another question I ask thee, answer that. Pray, how do the wise cross the stream, birth and old age, and sorrow and lamentation? Explain that thoroughly to me, O sage, for this thing is well known to thee. I will explain the Dharma to thee, O Metagu, so said Bhagavat. If a man in the visible world, without any traditional instruction, has understood it, and wanders about thoughtful, he may overcome desire in the world. Metagu, and I take a delight in that, in the most excellent Dharma, O great sage, which if a man has understood, and he wanders about thoughtful, he may overcome desire in the world. Whatsoever thou knowest, O Metagu, so said Bhagavat, of what is above, below, across, and in the middle, taking no delight and no rest in these things, let thy mind not dwell on existence. Living so, thoughtful, strenuous, let the bhikkhu wandering about, after abandoning selfishness, birth, and old age, and sorrow, and lamentation, being a wise man, leave pain in this world. Metagu. I delight in these words of the great seer. Well expounded, O Gautama, is by thee freedom from upadi, that is nibbana. Bhagavat in truth has left pain, for this Dharma is well known to thee. And those also will certainly leave pain whom thou, O sage, constantly mayest admonish. Therefore I bow down to thee, having come hither, O chief Naga, may Bhagavat also admonish me constantly. Buddha, the Brahmana whom I may acknowledge as accomplished, possessing nothing, not cleaving to the world of lust, he surely has crossed this stream, and he has crossed over to the other shore, free from harshness, and free from doubt. And he is a wise and accomplished man in this world. Having abandoned this cleaving to reiterated existence, he is without desire, free from woe, free from longing, he has crossed over birth and old age, so I say. Dotaka Manava Puka. I ask thee, O Bhagavat, tell me this. So said the venerable Dotaka, I long for thy word, O great seer. Let one, having listened to thy utterance, learn his own extinction. Exert thyself then, O Dotaka, so said Bhagavat, being wise and thoughtful in this world, let one, having listened to my utterance, learn his own extinction. Dotaka. I see in the world of gods and men a Brahmana wandering about, possessing nothing. Therefore I bow down to thee, O thou all-seeing one, free me, O Sakka, from doubts. Buddha. I shall not go to free anyone in the world who is doubtful, O Dotaka. When thou hast learned the best Dharma, then thou shalt cross this stream. Dotaka. Teach me, O Brahmana, having compassion on me, the Dharma of seclusion that is Nibbana, that I may understand it, and that I, without falling into many shapes like the air, may wander calm and independent in this world. I will explain to thee peace, O Dotaka, so said Bhagavat. If a man in the Vyasyable world, without any traditional instruction, has understood it, and wanders about thoughtful, he may overcome desire in the world. Dotaka. And I take delight in that, the highest peace, O great sage, which if a man has understood, and he wanders about thoughtful, he may overcome desire in the world. Whatsoever thou knowest, O Dotaka, so said Bhagavat, of what is above, below, across, and in the middle, knowing this to be a tie in the world, thou must not thirst for reiterated existence. Upasiva Manava Puka. Alone, O Sakka, and without assistance I shall not be able to cross the great stream, so said the venerable Upasiva. Tell me an object, O thou all-seeing one, by means of which one may cross this stream. Having in view nothingness, being thoughtful, O Upasiva, so said Bhagavat, by the reflection of nothing existing shalt thou cross the stream. Having abandoned sensual pleasures, being loath of doubts, thou shalt regard the extinction of desire that is Nibbana, both day and night. Upasiva. He whose passion for all sensual pleasures has departed, having resorted to nothingness, after leaving everything else, and being delivered in the highest deliverance by knowledge, will he remain there without proceeding further. he whose passion for all sensual pleasures has departed, O Upassiva, so said Bhagavat, having resorted to nothingness after leaving everything else, and being delivered in the highest deliverance by knowledge, he will remain there without proceeding further. Upassiva, if he remains there without proceeding further for a multitude of years, O thou all-seeing one, and if he becomes there tranquil and delivered, will there be consciousness for such a one? As a flame blown about by the violence of the wind, O Upassiva, so said Bhagavat, goes out, cannot be reckoned as existing, even so a sage, delivered from name and body, disappears, and cannot be reckoned as existing. Upassiva, has he only disappeared, or does he not exist any longer, or is he forever free from sickness? Explain that thoroughly to me, O sage, for this Dharma is well known to thee. For him who has disappeared, there is no form, O Upassiva, so said Bhagavat, that by which they say he is, exists for him no longer, when all things have been cut off, all kinds of dispute are also cut off. Nanda Manava Puka. There are sages in the world, so said the Venerable Nanda, so people say. How is this understood by thee? Do they call him a sage who is possessed of knowledge, or him who is possessed of life? Buddha, not because of any philosophical view, nor of tradition, nor of knowledge, O Nanda, do the expert call anyone a sage, but such as wander free from woe, free from desire, after having secluded themselves, those I call sages. All these ascetics and brahmanas, so said the Venerable Nanda, say that purity comes from philosophical views, and from tradition, and from virtue and holy works, and in many other ways. Did they, in the way in which they lived in the world, cross over birth and old age, O venerable man? I ask thee, O Bhagavat, tell me this. All these ascetics and brahmanas, O Nanda, so said Bhagavat, say that purity comes from philosophical views, and from tradition, and from virtue and holy works, and in many other ways. Still they did not, in the way in which they lived in the world, cross over birth and old age, so I say. All these ascetics and brahmanas, so said the Venerable Nanda, say that purity comes from philosophical views, and from tradition, and from virtue and holy works, and in many other ways. If thou, O sage, sayest that such have not crossed the stream, who then in the world of gods and men crossed over birth and old age, O venerable man, I ask thee, O Bhagavat, tell me this. I do not say that all ascetics and brahmanas, O Nanda, so said Bhagavat, are shrouded by birth and old age. Those who, after leaving in this world what has been seen or heard or thought, and all virtue and holy works, after leaving everything of various kinds, after penetrating desire, are free from passion, such indeed I call men that have crossed the stream. Nanda, I delight in these words of the great seer, well expounded by thee, O Gautama, is freedom from upadhi, that is nibbana. Those who, after leaving in this world what has been seen or heard or thought, and all virtue and holy works, after leaving everything of various kinds, after penetrating desire, are free from passion, such I call men that have crossed the stream. Hemaka Manava Puka. Those who before in another world, so said the Venerable Hemaka, explained to me the doctrine of Gautama, saying, "So it was, so it will be, all that was only oral tradition, all that was only something that increased my doubts. I took no pleasure in that, but tell thou me the Dharma that destroys desire, O sage, which if a man has understood, and he wanders about thoughtful, he may cross desire in the world." Buddha: in this world much has been seen, heard, and thought. The destruction of passion and of wish for the dear objects that have been perceived, O Hemaka, is the imperishable state of Nibbana. Those who, having understood this, are thoughtful, calm, because they have seen the Dharma, tranquil and divine, such have crossed desire in this world. Taddaya Manava Puka. He in whom there live no lusts, so said the Venerable Taddaya, to whom there is no desire, and who has overcome doubt, what sort of deliverance is there for him? He in whom there live no lusts, O Taddaya, so said Bhagavat, to whom there is no desire, and who has overcome doubt, for him there is no other deliverance. Taddaya: is he without breathing or is he breathing? Is he possessed of understanding or is he forming himself an understanding? Explain this to me, O thou all-seeing one, that I may know a sage, O Sakka. Buddha: he is without breathing, he is not breathing, he is possessed of understanding, and he is not forming himself an understanding. Know, O Taddaya, that such is the sage, not possessing anything, not cleaving to lust and existence. Kappa Manava Puka. For those who stand in the middle of the water, so said the Venerable Kappa, in the formidable stream that has set in, for those who are overcome by decay and death, tell me of an island, O venerable man, and tell thou me of an island that this pain may not again come on. For those who stand in the middle of the water, O Kappa, so said Bhagavat, in the formidable stream that has set in, for those overcome by decay and death, I will tell thee of an island, O Kappa. This matchless island, possessing nothing and grasping after nothing, I call Nibbana, the destruction of decay and death. Those who, having understood this, are thoughtful and calm, because they have seen the Dharma, do not fall into the power of Mara, and are not the companions of Mara. Gattakani Manava Puka. Having heard of a hero free from lust, so said the Venerable Gatakanan, who has crossed the stream, I have come to ask him who is free from lust. Tell me the seat of peace, O thou with the born eye of wisdom, tell me this truly, O Bhagavat. For Bhagavat wanders about after having conquered lust as the hot sun conquers the earth by its heat. Tell the Dharma to me who has only little understanding, O thou of great understanding, that I may ascertain how to leave in this world birth and decay. Subdue thy greediness for sensual pleasures, O Gatakanan, so said Bhagavat, having considered the forsaking of the world as happiness, let there not be anything either grasped after or rejected by thee. What is before thee, lay that aside. Let there be nothing behind thee. If thou wilt not grasp after what is in the middle, thou wilt wander calm. For him whose greediness for name and form is wholly gone, O Brahmana, for him there are no passions by which he might fall into the power of death. Bhadravuda Manava Puka. I entreat the wise Buddha, the houseless, who cuts off desire, so said the Venerable Bhadravuda, who is free from commotion, forsakes joy, has crossed the stream, is liberated, and who leaves time behind. Having heard the chief's word, they will go away from here. Different people have come together from the provinces, longing to hear thy speech, O hero. Do thou expound it thoroughly to them, for this Dharma is well known to thee. Let one wholly subdue the desire of grasping after everything, O Bhadravuda, so said Bhagavat, above, below, across, and in the middle, for whatever they grasp after in the world, just by that Mara follows the man. Therefore, knowing this, let not the thoughtful bhikkhu grasp after anything in all the world, considering as creatures of desire this generation, sticking fast in the realm of death. Udaya Manava Puka. To Buddha who is sitting meditating, free from pollution, so said the Venerable Udaya, having performed his duty, who is without passion, accomplished in all things Dharma, I have come with a question. Tell me the deliverance by knowledge, the splitting up of ignorance. It consists in leaving lust and desire, O Udaya, so said Bhagavat, and both kinds of grief, and driving away sloth, and warding off misbehavior. The deliverance by knowledge which is purified by equanimity and thoughtfulness and preceded by reasoning on Dharma I will tell thee, the splitting up of ignorance. Udaya said, what is the bond of the world, what is its practice? By the leaving of what is Nibbana said to be. Buddha said, the world is bound by pleasure, reasoning is its practice. By the leaving of desire Nibbana is said to be. Udaya said, how does consciousness cease in him that wanders thoughtful? Having come to ask thee, let us hear thy words. Buddha said, for him who both inwardly and outwardly does not delight in sensation, for him who thus wanders thoughtful, consciousness ceases. Pasala Manava Puka. He who shows the past births and see, so said the Venerable Pasala, who is without desire and has cut off doubt, to him who is accomplished in all things Dharma, I have come supplicatingly with a question. O Sakka, I ask about his knowledge who is aware of past shapes, who casts off every corporeal form, and who sees that there exists nothing either internally or externally. How can such a one be led by anybody? Buddha, knowing all the faces of consciousness, O Pasala, so said Bhagavat, knows also him who stands delivered, devoted to that object. Having understood that the bonds of pleasure do not originate in nothingness, he sees clearly in this matter, this is the knowledge of a perfect, accomplished Brahmana. Maharaga Manava Puka. Twice have I asked Sakka, so said the Venerable Maharagan, but the clearly seeing has not explained it to me. If the divine seer is asked for the third time, he will explain it, so I have heard. There is this world, the other world, Brahman's world together with the world of the gods. I do not know thy view, the famous Gautama's view. To this man who sees what is good I have come supplicatingly with a question. How is any one to look upon the world that the king of death may not see him? Look upon the world as void, O Maharagan, being always thoughtful. Having destroyed the view of oneself as really existing, so one may overcome death. The king of death will not see him who thus regards the world. Pinjaya Manava Puka. I am old, feeble, colorless, so said the venerable Pinjaya, my eyes are not clear, my hearing is not good. Lest I should perish a fool on the way, tell me the Dharma, that I may know how to leave birth and decay in this world. Seeing others afflicted by the body, O Pinjaya, so said Bhagavat, seeing heedless people suffer in their bodies, therefore, O Pinjaya, shalt thou be heedful, and leave the body behind, that thou mayest never come to exist again. Pinjaya, 4 regions, 4 intermediate regions, above and below, these are the 10 regions. There is nothing which has not been seen, heard, or thought by thee, and is there anything in the world not understood by thee? Tell me the Dharma, that I may know how to leave birth and decay in this world, seeing men seized with desire, O Pinjaya, so said Bhagavat, tormented and overcome by decay, therefore thou, O Pinjaya, shalt be heedful, and leave desire behind, that thou mayest never come to exist again. This said Bhagavat, living in Magadha at Pasanaka Ketiya, the rock temple. Sought by 16 Brahmanas, the followers of Bavaри, and questioned by each of them in turn, he responded to the questions. If a man, having understood the meaning and tenor of each question, lives according to the Dharma, then he will go to the further shore of decay and death, for these Dharmas lead to the further shore, and therefore this order of Dharma was called the way to the other shore. Ajita, Tisamettaya, Punaka and Metagu, Dotaka and Upasiva, Nanda and Hemaka, the 2 Tadeya and Kappa, and the wise Gatakanan, Bhadravuda and Udaya, and also the Brahmana Pasala, and the wise Maharagan, and Pinjaya the great sage, these went up to Buddha, the seer of exemplary conduct. Asking subtle questions, they went up to the Supreme Buddha. Buddha, being asked, responded to their questions truly, and in responding to the questions the sage delighted the Brahmanas. They, having been delighted by the clearly seeing Buddha, the kinsman of the Adikas, devoted themselves to a religious life near the man of excellent understanding. He who lived according to what had been taught by Buddha in answer to each single question, went from this shore to the other shore. From this shore he went to the other shore, entering upon the most excellent way. This way is to lead to the other shore, therefore it is called the way to the other shore. I will proclaim accordingly the way to the further shore, so said the Venerable Pinjaya. As he saw it, so he told it. The spotless, the very wise, the passionless, the desireless Lord, for what reason should he speak falsely? Well, I will praise the beautiful voice of Buddha, who is without stain and folly, and who has left behind arrogance and hypocrisy. The darkness dispelling Buddha, the all-seeing, who thoroughly understands the world, has overcome all existences, is free from passion, has left behind all pain, is rightly called Buddha. He, O Brahmana, has come to me. As the bird, having left the bush, takes up his abode in the fruitful forest, even so I, having left men of narrow views, have reached the great sea, like the Hamsa. Those who before in another world explained the doctrine of Gautama, saying, so it was, so it will be, all that was only oral tradition, all that was only something that increased my doubts. There is only one abiding dispelling darkness, that is the high-born, the luminous, Gautama of great understanding, Gautama of great wisdom, who taught me the Dharma, the instantaneous, the immediate, the destruction of desire, freedom from distress, whose likeness is nowhere. Bhavari, canst thou stay away from him even for a moment, O Pinjaya, from Gautama of great understanding, from Gautama of great wisdom? Who taught thee the Dharma, the instantaneous, the immediate, the destruction of desire, freedom from distress, whose likeness is nowhere? Pinjaya, I do not stay away from him even for a moment, O Brahmana, from Gautama of great understanding, from Gautama of great wisdom, who taught me the Dharma, the instantaneous, the immediate, the destruction of desire, freedom from distress, whose likeness is nowhere. I see him in my mind and with my eye, vigilant, O Brahmana, night and day. Worshipping I spend the night, therefore I think I do not stay away from him. Belief and joy, mind and thought incline me towards the doctrine of Gautama. Whichever way the very wise man goes, the very same I am inclined to. Therefore, as I am worn out and feeble, my body does not go there, but in my thoughts I always go there, for my mind, O Brahmana, is joined to him. Lying in the mud of lust's wriggling, I jumped from island to island. Then I saw the perfectly enlightened, who has crossed the stream, and is free from passion. Bhagavat, as Vakali was delivered by faith, as well as Bhadravuda and Alavi Gautama, so thou shalt let faith deliver thee, and thou shalt go, O Pinjaya, to the further shore of the realm of death. Pinjaya, I am highly pleased at hearing the sage's words. Sambuddha has removed the veil, he is free from harshness, and wise. Having penetrated all things concerning the gods, he knows everything of every description. The Master will put an end to all questions of the doubtful that will admit him. To the insuperable, the unchangeable Nibbana, whose likeness is nowhere, I shall certainly go. In this Nibbana there will be no doubt left for me, so know me to be of a dispossessed mind.